everyone, Stephanie here, coffee drinker, book lover, and reviewer of many things. And today I am drinking a Dr. Pepper off-brand because it was like $2 cheaper, and we gotta save money. But I needed my Dr. Pepper. It's the closest non-Dr. Pepper brand that I have found. And it almost scratches that itch, if you know what I mean. Anyway, today I am here to tell you about 3 books that I've recently read on Netgalley or from Netgalley. Anyway, like that sound. And if you hear like mowing noises in the background, I was setting up to do this and my husband got home and he was like, "It didn't rain today. I'm gonna mow the yard." So he's taken advantage of the not rain, which is what do we gotta do, right? Literally I had finished schoolwork with her right before he was about to get home, and I was like, okay, I was thinking I'll make this video and then I'll go mow while it's doing its where it gets onto my computer or saves to my computer. I don't understand how all that works. Anyway, yeah, but he got home early and he was like, "I'm gonna go take care of it because our HOA is gonna be like, your grass is too tall. It's been raining nonstop. What do you mean? Like, when are we supposed to mow it?" Um, anyway, before we get off hand, the 3 books that I'm gonna be talking about is Where No Shadows Stay, Burn the Kingdom Down, and Paint Me Like Your Dead Girls. Okay. Yeah. So, we're gonna start with the oldest one that I read because it's been a while since I read that one. When did I read that? In March? So this book, oh, I just lost that page. Dang. Okay. This book was published March 31st, 2026. So this one is available for you if it sounds like something that you'd be interested in. Going into I was excited to read this one because it sounded so good. First I'm going to read the description. It's pretty long, so bear with me because I struggle sometimes. But it sounded really cool and I was like, this. I believe it's a teen YA supernatural horror. Oh, yep, right here it says. Description. A homecoming queen and a bad boy loner team up to break a generational curse in this YA supernatural horror from the talented American Egyptian voice. From a talented American Egyptian voice. 17-year-old Mina is always focused on what comes next. Exams, school dances, opportunities for a public picnic by the lake. Filling up the future keeps her from lingering over how little she knows about her history or where she comes from. Anytime she asks her father questions about Egypt or about her mother's mysterious death, he struggles to open up. When Nina receives an invitation from her aunt she's never met to visit the Hykra, Hykle, Hykral, Hykra, Hykle, Hykal mansion. Oh, Here I thought normal names were gonna be the struggle. I didn't realize that there was gonna be, other words in here too. Her mother's childhood home in El El Agami? Eligami? Mina accepts. She can't resist the chance to learn more about her roots or what happened to her mother, even if it means lying to her loved ones for the first time in her life. But when Mina returns, she doesn't come back alone. A sinister entity. A sinister entity follows Mina from the Heikel mansion to her teeny California town. Mina is forced to abandon her friends, her father, and everything she loves in order to prevent the entity from violently possessing them. Isolated and fighting for her life, Mina must seek help from an unlikely ally, Jesse Talbot, the mortician's hostile son, and the only person who proves immune to the possession. Jesse would rather floss. Jesse would rather floss with barbed wire than team up with the social butterfly Mina. But he doesn't exactly have a choice. After all, he's running from a family secret of his own. As Mina and Jesse dig deeper into Mina's family lore, they uncover a bloody debt that must be satisfied if Mina wants to finish her senior year alive. Yeah. I was like, this is so cool. I want to read this. I was really excited. I was like, as soon as I read that description, I was like, please let me have it. Please, please. Like, I sent my request in and I got it, obviously. But, sometimes I send in because I'm like, oh, this sounds so good. And then I don't get what I want to read, but that's okay. Now I'm going to read you my review. Title: Where No Shadow Stays. Author: Sara Hashem. I butcher names, so if I said that wrong, I'm sorry. I started this book March 23rd, 2026, and I finished it March 26th, 2026. I gave this 4 stars, and the spice because there's a makeout scene, and I was like, "Ooh, are they gonna go?" I don't know if I want to read about teenagers, you know. But it was a good scene. It was a good scene. Would I recommend this book? Yes, yes, I would. Genre. My cat just fell off the window seat in the bathroom. Like the window seal is like enough. I could probably sit on it. It wouldn't be comfortable, but I could sit on it. He just like I guess he just rolled off like he was sleeping there whenever I went in there earlier. Um Poor guy. He's old. Okay, genre teen/YA fantasy horror. Hours. 19 hours and 23 minutes. Chapters. There was 40 chapters in this. I'm not close enough. 40 chapters. More by this author, the Scorched Throne series. And apparently people are upset that she wrote this book instead of more for that series. My favorite character was Jessie. I mean, her friends were pretty good too, but Jesse was supposed to be like this bad boy who smokes in school and all this stuff, and he's just a sweetheart. Almost immediately. My favorite quote, do you know how many people I talked to try to find you? I hate talking to people. Yeah. So Jesse and Mina get into an argument and she storms off. She's like, stop. She's like, don't follow me. And she storms off and she goes and sulks. And she's on an abandoned train where he had brought her. Next to that abandoned train is like a little alcove covered area, and he had brought her there to try to help her learn how to fight. This is after they started their agreement. And so she didn't know where to go that didn't have people, and that was the only place she could think of. So she went there, climbed aboard, and like cried for a little bit or something. Like she sulked, and I guess she fell asleep. And when she is abruptly waken up, it's by Jesse. And that's the first thing he says. But then he, like, when she doesn't respond to him, he reaches over to, like, get her attention, thinking she has headphones on, probably, and realizes she's freezing. And so he opens his jacket and, like, pulls her in and, like, has her sitting on his lap, and he's, like, curled around her. And that's their makeout scene, by the way, after she gets warmed up. And there's this moment where he's like, he stops them. Like, he pretty they're kissing, and all of a sudden he, like, drops her into the seat and stands up. And she's like, "What are you doing? I thought we were having a moment." And he's like, "I'm not just gonna be someone to make your boyfriend jealous." And she's like, "We broke up." And he's like, "Yeah, tell that to the school." There's more to that later. But that part, I was like, oh, okay. I wanted them to end up together. Oh, spoiler. I don't know if my review has spoilers. So, as I'm reading, I will try to edit myself so that if it gets choppy, it's because I edited out some spoilers. This book was so interesting. After Mina came back from a trip, she told no one she had went on to the place where her mother grew up and then died at. Hello, red flags. Your mom went back there and died. Why would you want to go there and die? I'm just saying. Yeah, there are so many red flags. There are so many red flags. I'm like, I know that you're a teenager, but you're like the smart girl. You're one of those smart kids that's like straight A student, and you're telling me you didn't pinpoint all of the red flags. Your aunt told you not to tell your dad, for one. Hello, stranger danger, because you've never met her. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a book. It's just a book. She comes back with a family curse. Anytime she's alone with a person, just one person, a demon possesses that person and tries to kill her with no explanation. She doesn't know why. But her mom's old journal starts magically explaining slowly, very slowly. So she isolates herself until she's cornered by a teacher, her favorite teacher, And her neighbor shows. Oh, that's a saves. I was like, what the heck was I trying to write? Her neighbor saves her, but the demon cannot possess him because he has a curse where he was born soulless. They slowly fall in love while researching what their curses are. He also saves her and even tries to fight her ex because he didn't know they were officially broken up. And they see the ex with a girl under the bleachers. Um, that's I will do spoilers because I have to talk about that scene. It this book had great banter. Mina's friends were great, and they even kidnap her. They even kidnap her after realizing she's avoiding them. The horror shadows ghost demon thing was neat. Was a neat idea, but she faints at the sight of blood. What? So that that was my review. I know, it was a jumbly mess of stuff. I will not tell you how this book ends, but for real, that was the ending. I got choked up. Okay, I cried for Jesse because of his feelings. I cried for Jesse's feelings. Okay. Um anyway, so the part with where Jesse and Nina had been walking out of school. They were trying to skip school. Or they were skipping school or something. They weren't being good students, okay? And the sports, basketball, I think, or some soccer or football or some sport. I don't remember the sport that her ex played. I am not a sport person. Something to do with outside, okay? They were outside. And her ex walks under the bleachers kind of sneakily with blonde cheerleader girl. And they're in the middle of discussion. Like Jesse and Nina are like, he's berating her because she's being reckless. And she's got a hurt leg. And I think some stitches, like his dad did some stitches on her. And he goes, "You've got to be serious. Are you kidding me?" And he takes off running. He takes off running, jumps the fence, and is like going after her ex. Sorry. My husband just went by. He was like with a weed eater and he was like looking in the window. um anyway, so Jesse jumped the fence and he starts taking off towards where the bleachers are, and she jumps the fence too. Feels like she's gonna pass out. Takes off running after him. The guys are like, he slams the guy up against the bleachers and can't, and she's like, "Jesse, stop, wait, you don't understand." And the her ex-boyfriend's new soon-to-be girlfriend, I guess, runs off to get a teacher because fighting is not allowed. And there's some punches thrown, and she jumps on his back, but because her leg is hurt, she can't wrap her legs around him. And he's like holding this guy up with one hand and reaches and like pulls her up, just casually pulls her up so she's on his back. And then he punches him in the face and his nose starts bleeding and she's like woozy immediately as soon as she sees the blood. And she like right off his back. And immediately they stop fighting because, she's more important. And she's fighting, trying to stay not fainted. She's like trying to stay coherent. And she hears, "What the heck's wrong with you?" And the ex says, "She faints at the sight of blood." And Jesse's like, "What? That makes no sense." And I'm like, "It doesn't make any sense." Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. It doesn't make any sense. First off, she's a dancer. We don't know what kind of, she's on the dance team. That's what we know. If you've ever been part of a dance team or did any kind of dance, you know, you get hurt. Your toes, you get spots on your toes that get bloody sometimes. Sometimes you fall because you don't know how to do the trick that you're supposed to be doing and you think, I can do it. I may have experience with that. And you fall. You slide just wrong. You get skinned up. You bleed. Okay? So, like, you learn that she started taking dance when she was, like, 6, 7 years old. Yeah, I said 6, 7. Dang. Anyway, how about 7, 8 years old? So she knows, like, she's been around blood before, okay? And then she's a teenage girl. Okay. We know what happens every month, right? We all know. And then she has been fighting with these demons, and she talks about in the beginning of the book how many times, like, it's happened several times, like, since she's come back half a year ago or something like that. And so, you know that she's had to bandage herself up. How is she still not capable of seeing blood? That was just, my brain was like, that's not, it can't be like that. My husband tried to counter that. He said, maybe it's not like blood, like monthly blood that bothers her. Maybe it's like if there's like a gash, like a wound makes her woozy. And I was like, but she faints, or she almost faints at the sight of her ex-boyfriend's bloody nose. I'm just like, it doesn't make sense to me. Okay. It kept coming up and it kept bothering me every time. I was just like, no, that's not how it works. It can't. Like, not if it, okay, so, like, I understand, like, if there's a lot of blood, you might get a little, like, ooh, but a little trickly nosebleed shouldn't make her be like, "Oh, I'm passing out." Okay, I'm done ranting about this. I know that there are people that have issues with blood, but it shouldn't, it not. Anyway, anyway, I really liked this book. Her friends were great, and they were very diverse. Very diverse. And there's even talk in this book about how most of the time parents want you to learn about your history and where you come from and, you know, the religion that your family has or used to have. Like, they want you to know who you are. But Nina's dad is like, "Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. I don't want you don't need to know." But he did make her learn he made her learn his language from where he grew up, even though she didn't meet his family at all. Like, apparently when Nina's parents got together, they were, like, done with their family, and they were starting their own family, and they never took Mina to see them at all. And I was like, "Wow, talk about breaking ties." They didn't even talk about her family, or their family. Um, yeah. So, but there's this nice little conversation, we find out there's someone else that one of her friends can draw really good, and she draws what she sees that other people don't see. I wanna know more about her. She was barely in this book until we talked to her in the beginning, or we know that they were friends for a long time, and that the first time Mina's mom picked her up from school, and that friend was also waiting for her mom. Her friend saw something behind her mom and freaked out, but couldn't put into words because she was like 6. And at the end, and at the end, this girl's like, "This is for you. I have been drawing things for you, from you, around you, and I think you need to solve the problem before you get to the last page." I was like, what, more information, please. Anyway, I want her story. Like I said, it was a good book. I enjoyed it. I do recommend it. So now we're going to move on to the next book that I read. The next book. Where's my little. Okay, the next book that I read was Burn the Kingdom Down by Addie Thorley. And this one was published April 7th, 2026. What did I think about this book? Let me tell you. Oh, actually, let me read you the description first. And then we'll talk about more. Okay. Action-packed, enemies to lover, fantasy filled with a romance that leaves you breathless, betrayals that will rip your heart out, and a princess who will stop at nothing for revenge. Sold. I wanted to read it, but I continued reading this part. 1 year ago, Rowena. Oh, I don't remember how to say this. Harak? Harak? Harak. We're going to say Harak. The crown princess of Bashir left her homeland in a wedding dress of chains, sent away to the enemy nation of Vandador. Vandor? Vandor. Vandador. Vandador. I don't know how to say it. I think that's how you say it. As a captive bride. Now Rowena is dead, brought home in a coffin after an alleged fall off a cliff. Second-born princess, Indira, knows her sister's death was no accident. Desperate for the truth and vengeance, Indira agrees to wed the prince so she can infiltrate Vanzador. Ugh. find Rowena's murder and burn their kingdom to the ground. Indira's plan is simple. She will make nice until she can find out how to avenge her sister and free her country from the rival nation's stronghold. Stranglehold, sorry. But when Indira arrives, nothing is as terrible as Rowena described. As Indira grows closer to her new husband, Prince Alaric, and uncovers more about Vanzador, the source of its power, and what happened during Rowena's final days, she's no longer sure what or who to believe because everyone, even her sister, has secrets, deadly ones. This book okay. How long ago did I read this one? It was in April. March, April. Okay. I liked this book. But title, Burn the Kingdom Down. I started this book March 31st, 2026, and I finished this book April 4th, 2026. Gave this 3.5 stars and 1 spice. Would I recommend this? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. There are 448 pages. This was a YA romantasy fantasy book. There were 57 chapters. More by this author. The Affair of Poisons and Night Spinner Duology. My favorite character's name was Elodie. And my favorite quote, "You are not responsible for his temper. No matter no mistake, no matter how grave, justifies murder. He was an adult, the king, for seed's sake. He should have been able to control his power and emotions." So first off, burn the kingdom down should not have been the title of this book. I felt like the only person who wanted to burn the kingdom down was her dead sister. There's a spoiler, twisty plot, and I'm pretty sure I wrote about it in my review. So I'll try to skip over the big spoiler, okay? This book was interesting. One kingdom is plant-based magic. They seem to make the plants grow. The other kingdom is earth-based magic, but not for plants, just for soil and rocks. They can tunnel through to get the ore. They can make caves. But to do that magic, they have to give their memories to the earth. So they have to physically skin touch the earth, give up a memory in order for the power to be powerful. It was a little strange, to be honest. Indira has always lived in her big sister's shadow. When her sister is married off and she starts imagining what her sister would say about things. She receives several letters from her sister telling her how awful it is and that she is in a dungeon and being mistreated. So the kingdom, and she was married to the kingdom. Oh wow, I was just scribbling away. The kingdom she was married into will keep their kingdom safe. Oh, I see what I was trying to say. So the Vandador in order to protect, I don't remember what their kingdom is, the plant one, they have to grow all of their plant, like, pretty much 90% of what they grow goes to Bandador, and they have to have a princess to marry. And in return, Bandador keeps Mountain around the place so that the bad people won't come and attack them. Okay. I had to pause. I had to go take care of the kid. She was painting. Where was I? Or she was done painting. Sorry. She was like, I gotta wash my hands. When her sister dies, she has to become the new wife. And she learns everything her sister tells her or told her was a lie. Then she starts realizing her sister wasn't so good. In her brain, she starts like putting things together. She talks to Prince Alaric and Elodie, which Elodie kind of insults her when they first meet because she's like, "How does it feel to be a princess?" And Indira, she's like, "I was already a princess. I was a princess of my kingdom." And then Elodie in the background, she's like, "Well, I meant, how does it feel to be the new princess of Vandador?" Vanzador. And she's like, "Oh, well, I've only been here long enough to sleep. I don't know yet." And they become fast friends. She's awesome. Let me see. Where was I? Anyway, she finds out, like, she gets there, and Prince Alaric, his dad's not so nice. His dad's not so nice. That quote is about his dad, the king, and that he wanted to. So because they can use like rock magic, and he can just say, "Hey, rocks, take me to the top," and be done. And so he was going to do that with Indira when they first got to the kingdom. And in her mind, she was like, "So you can push me off so I can get buried inside of the rocks by accident? Oh, no, I think I'm going to just climb with the rest of the people." And Alaric mumbles something along the lines of something about overusing his power, or like being showy with the power or something like that. Like, he mumbles it and his dad goes, "What was that?" And Alaric is like, "Oh, I said she's right. She should, we should climb. I should go climb with her so she can acclimate to the altitude so she doesn't get altitude sickness." And so he goes with her and they climb to the top. And there are things that because she hears her sister in her head. And in her head, her sister says, "I didn't climb this in my chain wedding dress. I climbed it naked." And I'm like, is how would Indira know this? How would she know? And just like, anyway, so by the time they get to the top, she's losing it. She's kind of a little loopy, dizzy because of the altitude. And so he picks her up and he carries her. So sweet. Like, he is. And as they get to the top, his dad calls them over to do something, I don't remember, showy, as he said earlier. And he's standing there and he's like, "Oh, I don't think I should do that right now." Like, uh, and he's kind of a pushover, so normally he just goes along with what his dad says. But one of the other peoples in the king's, mhm, the entourage, I don't know what they're called. The king's court or whatever it is like, "Oh, my dear, she is suffering. You need to get her to bed right away, and you should stay with her." um, and so he takes her to her rooms. And when she gets there, they are spectacular. There are gemstones in the wall, and when the light hits them, rainbows shoot across the room. And she is like, "This is not what?" And she accuses him. She's like, "Where's the room my sister stayed in?" And he's like, "This is it." Like, "No, she stayed in a grimy dungeon." And he's like, "No, this is her room." And he leaves her to her craziness. She starts going through the room looking for, like, he tells her, he's like, "I'm sure there's something here that was hers. You should go through her stuff." As her sister. Anyway, I'll tell you more about that part later. um so she finds out that her sister wasn't so good. Um Throughout this whole book, she's like, she starts questioning, like, it's like a little tick inside of her head. Like, she'll be like, "No, my sister was amazing. She did this, this, and this." And then he'll be like, "Well, that one time she did trick that boy into asking her to dinner so she could talk to his mom because she was part of the council." Like, she starts putting things together. Or there was that one time that she, you know, told this boy the wrong time, or this person the wrong time, to be part of the debate so that she could win. Like, things start like, you put your sister on a pedestal and then you find out she's lying to you, or she's lied to you. And then you start realizing that she was mean to people behind your back. And then you find out, like, you start knocking those pegs down, and then you're like hurt because who was she? Who I thought she was this person, but she was actually this person over here. What? That's she's how she starts with her sister, and then how it ends with her sister. Um, that's how it is, and you feel bad for her because you're like, oh. Also, you're like, how did you not know? I don't know how much younger Indira is. Like 2, 3 years, maybe. I don't know. I know she's like 19. She's an adult. She's an adult in the book. Anyway, she starts seeing that she has things in common with Prince Alaric. He too lost a sibling, and they slowly start working together because he doesn't like the way his dad does things. And then they find something that is kind of hidden. No, it's definitely hidden. And she sneaks out of the castle a few times before they start realizing that they're both sneaking out of the castle. Um, then she is tricked into believing, after she falls in love with him, she is tricked into believing that he has been playing her, trying to get her to do what they need for the kingdom. And so she tricks him to go somewhere and then stabs him. But then something happens. The big twist. I can't read what's left of my review because it talks about the big twist. Anyway, so the big twist happens, and it's like, oh, he wasn't trying to trick me. He really is on my side. And then somebody tries to kill her, and they start to fall off a cliff, and she pulls them back to safety because she's a good person. And then that person was like, I would have never saved you. And then tries to kill her again. And as she's choking the life out of her, as the person's choking the life out of her, Elodie comes in and smacks the person across the head with a rock. And when she does that, the person was like so wrapped around Indira that when they rolled because of the hit, she goes over too. Elodie, you hear scream her name, and then Rock pushes up from the ground and saves them. Or at least her. The end of this book, you go through so many emotions. Like, the book is very slow burn. You're going through, you're finding clues. There are parts that you're just like, oh my goodness, can you move on? You could have been like, months went by and we didn't find any clues, and then we found this, but no. There's some other stuff that goes on. There is some bedroom talk. Elodie helps Indira find suitable bedroom attire that is Vanzadorian, and she wears it for her husband. How sweet is that? Anyway, it was a pretty good book. I just thought burn the kingdom down. That there was gonna be a fire. The only time that there was fire was in her town before she goes with them to be the new wife. Before she was with them to be the new wife, her people think that the end is coming because they're not going to have a princess. There's not going to be anyone to continue the line. So they start a fire in the fields to like prove a point, but it's not like they're not trying to burn the kingdom. I mean, I guess technically they're burning stuff, but it's not like, I just didn't feel like the title went with this book. I don't know what it should have been called, but it was a pretty good book. I don't look. I don't know when the excitement started, okay? But I know that there was a chunk of time when I was just like, I am reading this because it's not completely terrible. But then it's like, oh, this happens, and this happens, and then this happens, and then this person's here, and then that happens, and then and then and then that? What? And how? I do have to let you know that Indira ends up in the dungeon for about a week, or yeah, about a week. And the way she gets out, because every time she asks to have a conference with the prince, as she is the princess, um, she's denied. And so finally, her cell has a little bit of mold growing out, coming from the window, and she knows how to make things grow. So she starts talking, and usually the guards don't say anything back. They hear her. They have to hear her. So she starts talking about how, we live underground where I come from, and we have all sorts of molds, and we either need to get rid of the molds because they are bad for us, or we need to, help them grow because they bring us more oxygen. And like she's just talking, and as she's talking, she's making this thing grow, and it grows all the way out, and it starts growing up the guard. And then she's like, this one's deadly. She's like, this one is one of the worst ones. Do you know if you breathe enough of this in, you'll die? I don't remember how long you have to breathe it in, but I'm sure it's terrible if it's growing out of your skin too. And he starts panicking, so he lets her out. And he's like, I'm taking you to him. Please, just get it off me. And so she makes it go away, and they get there, and the court is like, how dare you bring that treacherous being to us? And he's still like, I had to. Like, he's like freaking out. It's pretty great. But they live happily ever after. The end. Uh-huh. I would read a second book of this. Just saying. The next book that I read for Netgalley is Hate Me Like You're Dead Girls. This one isn't out yet. Look, you're so proud of me, right? I read one before the date that it was supposed to come out. This one's published date is July 21st, 2026. And yeah. Let me tell you about, oops, I passed. Let me just, don't go anywhere. All right. Where is it? There it is. Hate Me Like You're Dead Girls. Okay. First off, I'm not a fan of pink, but this cover was very interesting to me. So, here it is. This is what the description said. An addictive killer thriller following an inspiring aspiring. An addictive killer thriller following an aspiring. Why why do I keep saying this? Aspiring. Okay. An addictive killer thriller following an aspiring journalist investigation into a case that blurs the lines between art and life. Perfect for fans of Holly Jackson's A Good Girl Guide for Murder. I agree. It had some vibes. When aspiring crime journalist Phyllis Keller, her name is Felicity, but she goes by Phyllis. So weird. It's weird. Did anyone else with Felicity go by Phyllis? Fliss. And attends an estate sale and uncovers a disturbing painting by a mysterious artist. She wants nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, her art history professor dad buys it immediately. The portrait has been lost for decades and completes a set of 4. That might be a typo. Completes a set of 4 existing okay. complete. So there's going to be 5 paintings altogether. It completes a set of 4 existing paintings of women by the same artist already hanging in the town's gallery. But when the series of gruesome crimes rock the community, her father's gallery becomes the epic center of a deadly game. Bliss discovers that the painting may hold the key to the killer's identity. Haunted by a specter of a serial killer, Bliss races against time to solve the mystery before it claims another victim. In the world where every brushstroke hides a sinister secret, can she unravel the clues before she becomes the killer's muse? I wanted to love this so much. I wanted to love this. I gave this 3-ish stars. Just over 3 stars. Like 2.5, maybe half a star. Let me just tell you my review stuff, and we'll get to it. Hate Me Like You're Dead Girls was the title. Author, Cynthia Murphy. Start date, April 22nd, 2026, and my finish date was May 2nd, 2026. I gave it 3.5-ish stars. There is no spice in this book. There's kissing. They kiss, she moves to his lap to kiss him more before they're interrupted. I really think that's it. There's other stuff, though, in this book that's gruesome. Would I recommend this? Yes, maybe. Depending on what kind of books you read. This is a YA mystery thriller. It kind of felt more like a middle grade book, but it felt like a middle grade book, to be honest. It had 255 pages and 44 chapters. More by this author is Win, Lose, Kill, Die, The Midnight Game, Signed, Sealed, Dead, Last One to Die, and Keep Your Friends Close. My favorite character, I couldn't decide between Jennifer and Noah. Although I kind of liked the serial killer in this one. The nowadays serial killer, not the past one. Okay. My favorite quote was, "Dad, I promise we'll look after the place. We've only planned 3 Ragers while you're gone." Yeah. Review starts with going to a estate sale with Dad and new stepmom. Bliss finds a disturbing painting, then her dad acquires it. It comes back to the apartment with them. Bliss finds research stuff in the back of it from the previous owners. Bliss decides to bring to light the girls that were in the painting. Literally, their blood and hair is also in the painting. Gross. Dad and stepmom leave. Bliss and best friend Izzy are at their apartment to watch the place. And because it's like close enough to campus, because they're doing a summer school, not a summer school, but like a summer course to prepare them for college for art stuff. I don't know. It was, they disagree way a lot for best friends. Like there are times when I'm like, okay, best friends fight, I get it. But it felt like Izzy, they've known each other since they were children. They're best friends. So Izzy should know how Fliss is, how she, like, what her topic is, like, what she's gonna do with her life, or what she wants to do with her life. But instead, every time Fliss brings up her research, Izzy's like, I'm just like, that's not how best friends should act. Anyway, after the new painting is hung in the museum that's attached to the college, I couldn't read it looked like attacked to the college is what it looks like I wrote. Attached to the college, they are taking a summer class at murders start happening, and they're posed like the paintings. I felt like a lot of things could have been left out of this book. And Ford's Ford's connection. There's a kid that they know. His name is Ford. His connection to the museum seemed completely pointless. It is brought up like 2 times. And you're like, okay. No, it's brought up more than 2 times because there's a point in the book because Izzy has a crush on him. And she's like, Fliss is like, oh, his last name is the same as the museum. And Izzy's like, oh, he has money. And it's like, okay. And they meet a guy named Jake that comes to the party, to a party they actually have. The party has like 6 people. 7. And it's like, he could have been left out. He could, like, the only reason he was at this party was because he brought that stuff that you smoke. It starts with a W. I don't know how much I can say on this. But are you serious? That's the only reason why he's in this book. Some of the school stuff could have been left out too. It just seemed pointless. Like, yeah, I understand that there are other people in this class, but they make fun of an old person who's in the class, like his painting. I mean, apparently it's like an undressed body. But like that was pointless. We didn't need to know that. We don't know about anyone else that's in the class except for our little group of friends that we make. I was just like, it felt like filler. And then on top of that, it Bliss skips class a lot. She doesn't go, and it's look, if I had a free pass to go to this class, I would do everything I could. Every part of the class, I would do it. But some of the class she skips because, oh, I'm not good at that stuff anyway. That's what the class is for. Like, they were supposed to be learning about, what was it? Pottery. They were supposed to learn about drawing. They were supposed to learn about, like, poetry type stuff. They were supposed to do some performance art, like, and she didn't go to very many classes. You know what she went to? The library. Just the library. And, she was really jumpy for someone who was really into, the criminal side of art. I get trying to add how she was making friends and the crush bits that they had, because this book is about teenagers. But Phyllis being awkward didn't have to be brought up all the time. Like, use your writing to express that, not... Oh, and like always, Phyllis was awkward sitting here thinking of something to say. It could have been like, Phyllis said, "Oh, yeah, like a normal person would talk, okay?" Um, I liked the flashbacks and the research. Oh, and the tarot cards. I loved the tarot card stuff. Okay, that is what I wrote. Yeah. So, this book had tarot cards. And I enjoyed that part. That was nice. And Izzy is into the tarot cards, but she's not the reason for the tarot cards. The tarot cards are because of Phyllis's new stepmom. And stepmom, before they left, kept drawing cards and leaving them randomly for Fliss. And Fliss is like, "No, I'm not into that stuff. I like facts." And when they get this really creepy painting, part of me wishes that I could have seen it. This book had like text message type things, like little text bubbles. That was cool. And like research page, or like if you were researching something and you're looking it up on your computer screen, like how it would print out was in the book. I didn't think that was how it was going to be, because I have, it's an early copy. So, but I enjoyed that stuff, and the tarot card part was so cool. Anyway, I'm trying not to spoil too much, okay? So, when Fliss first finds the painting of this guy, it's gruesome. It's gross looking. He looks like he's dying. AKA he is. But she doesn't know that for sure. It just looks bad. And if you look even closer, it has like hairs in it. And I think at first she's like, "Oh, he must have used a bad brush." Nope, that's human hair. Um, and, yeah. So in this book, there is talk of death and murder and spiking someone's drink. And when about halfway through, maybe just, I had two people in mind of who was going to end up being the killer. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna take that out. The person, the there was two people. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be one of them," or maybe it's both of them, because maybe it's like a Scream moment where like this person and this person are the killers. I was wrong. It was not both of them. The one person that we got closest to, makes a flower out of paper for our main character, Bliss. And when later one of the dead people has flowers put in their hair, the crown. And after the party, there is a flower left for Fliss, and you're like, wait, is it this person? And then you find that person's bag empties out, and when they think they got everything, they walk off, and you find a necklace that belonged to the person that died that had the flowers in their hair, and you're like, and our main character is like, and she's got to do facts. She's gotta get the facts out. And so she can't, she's trying not to jump to conclusions, but she's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And she takes off running to the house. And her friend Izzy's like, it doesn't mean anything. Maybe they found it last night at the party. Maybe the person that, left it, or it fell off. Oh. And I was like, and then that person pops up after another death inside the museum, and they're covered in blood, but they don't think it's theirs. And you come to the conclusion that it's not that person way too late. I was like, what? Yeah, the end of this book was pretty good. There was still, like, parts that I'm just like, maybe I just need to, maybe it's like middle grade type books that I just need to stay away from. I'm struggling with connecting with the middle grade books right now. I think I need to read more like adult horror. I Like I said, I liked these books. They were pretty good. I'm gonna go back over here. Um, Where No Shadow Stays came out March 31st, 2026. So you can get that or find a way to read it. I will leave, if I can leave a link in the description, it'll be a Shmamajan one. I will get pennies if you maybe get pennies depending on which copy you get. And Burn the Kingdom Down came out April 7th. I tried, okay? I tried to get the review out. But I have so much going on in April. And then, again, if I can find a link for you to get that book, I will leave the link. Because they were good books. They just weren't to me right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much. And then Paint Me Like Your Dead Girls comes out July 21st, and I don't know how to help you with that book unless there's a link somewhere to do a pre-order. Is that what it's called? I don't pre-order stuff because then I end up getting it too many times. So no pre-ordering for me. But I feel like all of those books I would like in book form, probably for my junior high school shelf over here with the green light. See it? Right there. That one. Nope, not that one. This one. Anyway, so that's my Netgalley video. How many have I done? Is this my third one? My fourth one? I'll figure it out. I'll put it in the title. I am working on what's it called? Hold on. Oh, I'll just look here. It's faster. I am working on Girls Who Play Dead. That one came out in November, but I have access to it again. Sweet. Um, so I'll read that one, and then I'm gonna look up some more, 2 more to go with that, and hopefully the next one is soon. My next video is going to be about dinosaurs. Um, my curriculum, our summertime unit that we're doing is dinosaur themed, and I wanted to share some of the books and stuff that I'm going to be using, and I'm excited about dinosaurs. My kid's excited also, so we're going to be talking about that next. And I'm working on about halfway through. Okay, I'm like a third of the way through. As Good as Dead. So that video will be coming up soonish, and probably Lisa, is it Lisa Jewell? I forgot. Forgot who. Oh yeah, I was right. I Found You by Lisa Jewell, because I'm gonna be listening to that one also. Uh-huh. So that is my future. Um I'm trying to get more. I'm trying to get more of my my backlist read. But I want to make sure that I can. But I'm a completionist, so I want to get all of May checked off this time. I didn't add anything extra. Okay. That is all I have to talk about. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up. And comment below. Have you read any of these books? Now that you've heard me talk about them, are you considering reading these books? And I'm starting to gather up more books for next year's reading challenge. So if you have any suggestions, please drop those into the comment section, because I love new books. Yeah. So, and next year's reading challenges won't be over half physical copies, because ouch. Don't have time for this. Anyway, subscribe. If you're not sure if you want to subscribe, you can click my face bubble. It'll pop up somewhere down here. Or you can pause the video and go to my name, A Coffee Drinker's Review, and check out my other videos. I might be someone that you like. And I always like to say, if you made it this far, I'm probably someone you like. So you should subscribe. And if you decide you don't want to subscribe, and if you decide that you don't like me after you've been subscribed, you can unsubscribe. Won't hurt my feelings. Well, it hurts my feelings a little bit, but I'll be okay. That's life. Um, share this video, because sharing is caring, and someone else might need to know about some new books. Yeah. I am gonna go make dinner and then come back and edit this video so I can have it posted. I'll see you on my next video. Bye!